Hello everybody, this is the Mythical Dragon here, and we're back in the Dragon's Den. Pull up a seat and select the coffee of your choosing, because it's a coffee day. It's just how it runs here on the day of this recording. Yes, coffee. I have a special guest. As you guys know, I'm doing a series of interviews with people who stream. Cool people like Lourdes, and now this week we have Crumpler.
Hello there.
Hey, it's a Crumpler 64. He's a good friend of mine for years. Like 6, 7 years now at this point, I think. So,
And we're
yeah.
we're by I believe it's like by when May next year will definitely be 7, but it's definitely 6 this year.
Oh yeah, yeah. We've been around the block with each other for sure. Which is
Yes.
great. Which is great. It's very funny that I've realized that these interviews go from Lourdes. I've only met her really 2017-ish. Then you, like for 6 years at this point of the recording, and then like my next interviewer will be 7 years because I'll reveal that later. At the end, special reveal who will be my next guest, because even I'm surprised that I got this person on my podcast. So yay! Hints, wink, winks. Okay. We shall begin, though, this episode. So Crumpler is going to go through a journey with me about his streaming experience. And I'm looking forward to it because I don't know when he actually found out Twitch, but we'll figure out that right away. So, Crumpler, first question.
Yes.
How did you discover the world of Twitch and streaming?
It was actually this was like when you fired this question to me earlier today. I really had to think about it because it was just a difficult memory. It's just like, how did I find out about it? And through by luck of archiving through memories, I remember or the YouTubers that I love to watch were Total Biscuit and Jesse Cox. And ever so often, they would promote on their YouTube channels like, "Hey, I'm live streaming here. Please click on the link down in the description." And I'm just like, "The fudge is this?" And then, like, Total Biscuit is basically would be like he would always be commentating like StarCraft on the tournaments and such. And Jesse Cox, he's just basically one of those streamers that he just streams what he wants to streams, and a lot of times it would be like World of Warcraft and all that kind of nonsense. So I was basically those are the two main guys that got me kind of dip my toe into the world of Twitch in it itself.
Hmm.
And just for the longest time, I was like, okay, I'll just watch. And I usually thought I would just pop in and just, I just follow those two guys and what they were going on. It's like, oh, I can watch these tournaments live in the comfort of my own like laptop while I'm at college. Perfect.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I found Twitch through Twitter. I don't know, Twitter, Twitch, the TWs is where I got it. So it's cool that you found it through like actual content creators, which is really neat.
Yeah, because it was like, because I wasn't using like Twitter at all or anything like that. So just this one, they would just put like short little videos and say, "Hey, I'm live on here. Click on the link."
Mm-hmm.
And that's all it is. And like, I'm like, they're live, and it just to me that was like foreign at the time because like I'm only doing like live television, like in the traditional sense, it's like they're live with the powers of the internet.
Yeah, it's like, wait a minute, I can watch these favorite people like in the moment doing real things in the moment? Ah! Oh, I get that.
Yes, and this was like back, and it's where like I know for the at least for Total Biscuit, it was back when it was just Twitch was not known as Twitch. It was Justin TV, and then so
Wow.
that goes way back. So it was before Twitch even had a name.
Wow, I didn't even realize that it was a name before a name. Wow.
Oh, trust me, I didn't have time to look it up, but it was one of those moments I was ready to be like, "My dear Dragon, allow me to go down the ways of history as we go through the days before Twitch."
Oh my god, I love it.
Yeah, and like for me, like that's how I know because before, like Twitch, like it was fully integrated. Like my account like had to be integrated through Justin TV and such. So that's how I remember because I had to create an account on Justin TV, and then it became a Twitch account. Like because Twitch acquired them. I think I'm trying to remember if like Twitch acquired them or just Twitch came out and then just bought them. I can't remember what it was.
Sounds like something a company would do. Yeah. I remember, didn't Mixer go to
Yeah,
Facebook
that's what
Gaming? Like earlier, a couple of years ago, like Mixer turned to Facebook gaming. So yeah, that seems a pretty standard thing across the board.
Yeah, we don't talk about them dark times of Mixer.
Oh,
Even though it's only like a year.
yeah,
It
right.
was like a year product and it's gone.
Yeah, and now it's a whole weird thing on Facebook of all places. Who would have thought? World is crazy nowadays. But that's really cool. It's Justin TV and now Twitch. Wow, it's so
Yeah,
crazy. I like it though. Unique and wow, old.
yeah, but that
That
was
feels
like,
old.
yeah, but that was still was this moment like, how did I get on? Like, how did I find out about it? Like, I really was just like during my lunch break, all I did was sit down and just went through deep archives mentally, just like, how did I find out about it? Because it was like I wasn't strongly on like social media, and if it so
Hmm.
it's like there had to be how did I find this grapevine that leads to the grand divine? Just like I had to really think. I was like, oh yeah, Justin TV was a thing.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy. Well, I'm glad you took the time to go down that rabbit hole because, yeah, I thought that was a really cool question to ask everybody
Yes,
because
yes,
I know most
yes.
people's
Thankfully, I
stories of like how they began streaming yourself. Like, I know most of those stories, but I'm like, there was a time before you streamed. What was that like?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, just like before I decided to stream myself, it was just mostly it was I think it just really what really inspired me to really go into streaming is mostly before the time like I was dated this one girl. I will not say her real name for her sanity, so I will call her Stacy. So me and Stacy, they like were dating, and ever so often, she would ask me, "What am I up to?" And it's like, "Oh, I'm playing. I would be playing this game." And this was a long distance relationship, so she would ask, "Oh, can I watch?" And
Hmm.
share screen did exist, but my internet, which is because it was only we were using Skype, and Skype is a peer-to-peer call service, and
Yeah.
a lot of the times was either my internet was Garbo or her internet was Garbo, where it's like share screen just didn't work. But for
Mm-hmm.
some reason, Twitch did. So
Ah.
whenever it was just the moments where she just wanted to just watch me play something, like she would have had like a long day at work, and she worked from home. She basically worked at like basically the finances of a dental office that her husband ran,
Hmm.
and it would just basically she would just be wiped, so she just wanted to watch something, anything, and it was, and I'd just be at that moment like, well, I want to play this game, so it's just like, well, let me watch you play. So I figured out through YouTube videos how to set up, a Twitch broadcast,
Yeah.
and then I would just like whatever game I was wanting to play, I would show her that way, and that's how like I really like I just like very self-taught just streamed for one person, and she was the only one. Like I didn't care about chat, it was just only her, and it would just be on a Skype call, and it would just I would talk to her. It was very weird though because Twitch has a delay,
Yep.
so at first like when I experienced that, I thought something was wrong. So I
Oh.
remember in one stream I restarted multiple times like, why are you, like, yes, I did it, and then she'd be like, I didn't see what you did, and I'm just like, what the heck? And I would
Oh.
just immediately end the stream and restart it,
Oh my
thinking
goodness.
something was wrong.
Oh,
And
that's
then
so funny.
later I had to. That's how I found out. Oh, it's a delay, like in terms of that level of live broadcasting. It's not instant,
Oh, oh, that's so funny.
and that's how I got. That's how I got into like streaming myself,
Yeah.
but I didn't really seriously get started in streaming until May of 2015. I will
Mm-hmm.
never forget this month as long as I live, because it was around the time where for a little known broadcaster known as Patrick Static, who I
Yeah.
came across thanks to Wade,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and it was, and basically, and I might as well might as well say how I ran into Patrick. It was where I was just on Facebook, and like Wade just on his Facebook page just said, "Hey, my buddy's doing a charity live stream. Go and support him." I'm like, oh, okay, I trust Wade, and I went in, and this is first. I know some people like know Patrick like nowadays, but like this is back then where his average viewer count was like 16, so very small and upcoming streamer,
Mm-hmm.
and and just like for me, I just instantly became. I don't want to say friends because that's not the case. Like I became very well known in his chat.
Yeah.
And then it was just one day he was playing Call of Duty Black Ops, and he was just playing solo. And I don't know what came over me. Like as he was playing the stream, I bought Black Ops on PC as he was broadcasting it, and then just asked him, "Hey, do you need a partner?" But here's the other thing. I'm terrible at Call of Duty Zombies. I don't know why this compelled me to do this, but I just something told me buy this game now. It's not even on sale. Just buy it and ask the man.
Oh my
And then
gosh.
he just went, you know what, Crumpler, do you have a mic? And I was like, I have a wonderful mic. And then instantly, like, called me on Skype, and
Mm-hmm.
then we just started talking. And then his entire stream saw how absolute garbo I was in zombies. But this, like, we got to a point where like I'm clearly dead, so I'm only spectating Patrick, and so it just allowed me to just talk with people in chat.
Mm-hmm.
And then it got to a point where just enough people asked me, it's like, Crumpler, do you stream? And I was just like, I mean, I'll stream if you want me to. Like, that literally all it was. It was just
Yeah.
like, enough people asked, like, do you stream? And it's just like, well, I have all this stuff that I can do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it was like, days after, I cannot, I'm trying to remember what game I played. My earliest memories of live streaming is Grand Theft Auto 5, like when that was like relatively new on the PC. I don't think that was the first game I streamed, but that's just that's as much as my archives will allow me. And
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't save anything because I was just like everything was just like, all right, just stream it and done.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was just it's also where I met Gar Blue Moon as well, because see, he saw me through Patrick's community, and then he just invited me to play Destiny with him, and it just where it's like, why are these guys like want to befriend me? And it was just weird. It's just like these guys just want to hang out with me, and it's just like, okay, I'll do it. And then it's just and then it just kind of took off from there. Just thanks to like Patrick and Gar and just those communities combined, where it is
Mm-hmm.
like I just had my first steps through the world of Twitch. And just whereas like the name Crumpler64 was no longer just a username on the database, it's just known as an actual person of entertaining.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I remember those early days. Especially remember some of the. I think it was at GTA that you
Yeah, you
joined,
were
Pat.
there.
I was there. I was a moderator when you first joined that stream, and that was excellent. And I remember you joining Pat for a couple other streams at one point, and it got to the point where it's like, I like this guy. I'm
Yeah,
gonna go
and
find
one that I
like all the
wasn't even
things.
invited to.
Yeah, yeah. There's some
Yeah,
surprises.
which
Like, is
I
that
might like
Crumpler?
saying that
Let's come
story.
on. Yeah, share that story. I love it.
Yeah, so Patrick and Wade and D Live were playing Grand Theft Auto 5 online, and this is one of those moments where it's like this could have made or break my friendship with Patrick, because when they set up the session, they set it up to where only people that were in the crew that Wade created could join.
Mm.
Now, there was, which it was, so it's like semi-private. You had to jump through a hoop to get in.
Yeah.
And again, normally I was like, oh, let the boys play. It is perfectly fine. But something told me, like, this is your chance. And where I joined Wade's crew, and I just joined. And I was just like, I was not in a call with anyone. And I just remember, like, I just looked around, opened up my map, like, there they are. Okay. And at first, I kept my distance. I got in my car, and I just drove around, and I just tried it. I just, in the background, I had Patrick's stream in the background, just so I had, like, visuals and, like, some kind of sound, while I did this. I only had one monitor, so I always had to, like, alt-tab to see. And then while I'm going, eventually, Patrick is driving around with Wade in a two-seated car. and they pull up to pick up D-Live, and D-Live's like, "Hey, you only got 2 seats," and just shoots Wade. And so, of course, Wade's character dies, and just D-Live just gets in the car. And then I just come driving by, and I was like, "Oh shoot, did they see me?" And the next thing you notice, Wade spawns, gets in my car, and said, "Crumpler, follow that car."
Ah!
It's one of those moments where I know if you could hear me scream.
Uh-huh.
Well, you couldn't because it was all internally, but I just remember immediately got on Skype, messaging you,
Yep.
saying, "Dragyn, Wade is in my car."
Yeah.
It was just an immediate response. Like, I had to contact you because I needed to tell someone.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's all it was. Where just basically, I became Wade's driver, and I was like following their car. Eventually Wade jumps out, and he just goes out in hot pursuit to try to take him down. And it's like, okay, this is the end of the road. I've had my say, and I thought, like, okay, I'm not kicked out yet. No one's complaining, so we're good. And then eventually, Wade pulls up to me and said, "Crumpler, get in!"
Ah!
And it was just, again, it was like, this is my first real, like, kind of interaction with Wade. It's just like, so it was that moment, like, Starstruck is putting it mildly. I still have a picture that I sent you as like visual proof that I am in the car, because I'm like in the chat, it's like I am in the car with Wade. I am in the car with Wade, and there's a picture of me just looking absolutely shocked and then clearly on my screen is Wade's player model, and you were just like, no way.
Yeah, because I think at the time I
like,
joined that stream late to like moderate for Pat. Like I joined it late, and I just got all your freak out on Skype, and I was like, I gotta get home. I gotta get there. I wanted to see what's happening.
Yeah. That's right, you weren't even home.
No, yeah, I was like on my way home, like on the bus, and I'm just like, I'll be there as soon as I can. I'm coming, Crumpler.
God. Yeah, it was just one of those moments. They didn't kick me out. They allowed me to stay, and they were super cool with me just being there, even though like I still was not in a voice call with them, and I just hanged out with them, and I remember after that stream, I sent Patrick a friend request, and I remember just like, am I worthy? Am I truly friends? And like, and then within that same night, it's like I saw the confirmation, like, you are now friends with Patrick Static, and it was just like, and it's just like any point of like validation, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I get that for sure. Because I found Pat the year before you, and I remember just like being this crazy fangirl, as Pat would always put it. If you ever go back to earlier videos, that's how he described me, as the crazy fangirl, like coming to every single stream of his. Once I discovered him, basically, watching all of his videos, sharing it on social media, I was the fangirl, for sure. And then it was very funny to just all of a sudden, there was something going on like in the background. You can kind of tell, and this is 2014, so definitely like a little bit before your time, Crumpler. But there's some drama going on.
Like I wasn't born yet. This is before your time, young son.
This is before you were discovered, friend.
Okay, that's a lot better wording, thank you.
No worries. I'm an English teacher. I should do a little better, but it's fine.
I'm an artist. I don't make good words. I make them look pretty.
There you go. I create, you make them pretty. Or I say, you make them pretty. There you go.
Yes.
And
I'll break the glitter.
Oh,
why did I give it a manly voice?
I am
glitter. Get in behind enemy lines, and then we'll get the glue.
Perfect. Shall be no escape from the glitter.
Sorry, continue on.
Yeah, well, for me, how I got discovered by Patrick in quotations was being this fangirl. And there's definitely, it was around the summer of 2014 that, like, some stuff was going down. You can kind of tell, because he wasn't really enjoying streaming as much. Like, it was just the sudden change. And I was like, I was a little of that pushy support friend, which I think Crumpler knows all too well, where I'd be like, hey, Pat, buddy, like, you don't seem like yourself today, what's going on? And he just, like, shrug it off. But every stream I'd ask him that. And eventually, I got a there's one stream he did, very tiny. Like this is like before he hit like the average of 16 per stream. It was like maybe 5 to 8 at one point. Like very like specific friends only came, and then this fangirl me was there, basically.
Yeah.
And he was just like, you know what? You guys are my like tight knit community. I'm okay to do this. Everyone who wants to add me on Skype, go for it. And me, being like the fangirl I was like, how do I, Skype? Click? Okay. You put the thing in chat, copy, okay, paste, and then sat there for 5 minutes going, do I do this? Do I do this? Do I do this? Do I do this? I'm this Canadian. He's in America. Would this work? Like, just all the immediate doubts in my head. And then I clicked it, and he was the first one that accepted me. Like, out of the list that came through that day. And then it was funny. Immediately after all that happened, he was just like, hey, so there is a lot going on. Can I call you? I was like, okay, I added you like an hour ago. What? And yeah, we, like, long story short, those, like, one-on-one conversations became, like, suddenly in August of that year, I was like, do you want to moderate for me? Because I need new mods. And I was like, I mean, I come to every stream anyway. Sure. And then, like, boom, just that was in the course of, like, from March, I think, of 2014 to, like, August 2014. Just the span of that being, like, the crazy fangirl turned friend at that point. It was crazy. Yeah. But, yeah, I love the streams that, like, you were freaking out about. Like, oh, my God. Like, I still love those moments because I was like, I'm so excited for you. Oh, my God, my laptop's a piece of shit. I can't play games with them, but yay, go Crumpler. So it was fun. I was like a fangirl for both. For like, it became me fangirling over you playing with them, and then I was like, oh, Crumpler's stepping up over me, even though I'm a moderator and I'm technically over him, but he's over me right now. Ah! I'm so excited, and it was so great.
It's like a man in the inside.
Dragon, I'm inside. Beyond enemy lines. You keep chat company. I'll watch the front lines. Over and out.
Got it. Yep. Pretty much. That's exactly what it was. It's just like, okay, everyone.
That's basically what it was. Like, whenever I'm in, it's just a moment, like, me and Dragon will always have a side chat somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it was, like, through text messages, through Skype, like, and then, when Discord finally became a thing, we do that. Like, we always had a side convo somewhere.
Yeah.
And I always made sure, like, we always make clear, like, I know you're moderator, so, like, don't feel like I'm priority in this chat. Reply when you can, and of course, I'm playing the game, so same thing.
Yeah, but it became the point where I'm like, Crumpler, you're the only one messaging me ever, so of course I'll reply back. But that was, like, me as a baby mod at that point, and then eventually when, like, the community did take off, it was like, I have so many messages and so many things to pay attention to. Oh, lordy.
Now!
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's so great. I love it. So that's definitely one of your best streaming moments. Are there a few others that you want to share over the years that you've been on this Twitch world?
If anything, like, these memories, they're not the best. They're ones that are definitely, like, made, like, the biggest impact.
Oh, yeah.
And the first one, I think the biggest, like, the one of the balls, so, like, the one that's definitely made an impact. There was one time it was can't remember if it was like an anniversary stream or something, but it was definitely, I was streaming with Gar and a couple of, and we were doing golf with friends. This is before it became golf with your friends. It is golf with friends. And then there was at one point whether it was just like a setup or his internet, it just would not, like, it was not stable at all. And he just asked me, he's like, Crumpler, are you streaming? And I was like, yeah. So he sent his Twitch chat to mine. My follower count just freaking exploded. I remember, like, every chance I could get, it was like I was trying to thank every single follower in that instance. It was just like, I'm trying to focus on the game, so, like, anytime, like, I made it in the hole, I'm, like, reading off, like, 20 names each hole. It was just like, thank you to Dragon Slayer 1414, thank you so much for the follow, and also Kiki Garage, thank you so much for that follow, and like, it was just like chaos. It just where, like, I saw my viewer count go from like 7 for 200, and then I'm just like, oh no. And it was that was just immediately like overwhelmed, and I'm sure, and even like a chat even had had a good kick out of it. Like Crumpler is trying so hard to keep up with all the support. Because I made sure to thank every single follower, and it
Yeah.
was, God, I'm surprised I did not lose track. I did, every person did get thanked, or if I did skip someone, they were very kind. It's like, hey, I think you skipped me. It's like, all right, then I would get their name right.
Yeah. Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, so that one was like one of the biggest. Just basically just a kind of like the small town boy hits the big city kind of a impact.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
oh wait, there's so many things here, and they're so close together.
Yeah, I remember my first
And
Patrick raid. That's the same vibe. I was like, what? Patrick raid? What? I'm sorry, what? Patrick Static has raided the Dragon 212. And I just remember leaning very close to the mic going, Patrick Static, what the fuck did you just do?
what have you done to me?
I just immediately seen him in the chat going, you're welcome. I'm like, ah! I freaked out. Many fangirl moments were to be had between Patrick and all of us having Patrick in our lives.
Yeah.
But oh my goodness, Gar rating you is amazing. I love that. Oh.
Yeah, but and then another good memory I had was my first ever charity live stream, and it was where like I did of all the charities we chose Able Gamers, because as a person with, even though like I am a person that's under autism, even though it is through in all aspects, like it's Asperger's disease, but I see it as it's very mild. It doesn't hinder me, but it's enough to diagnose me as it hinders me. It affects my finger dexterity, and so my gameplay can be limited at times. So when I came across Able Gamers, that was like for years, like when I was like, if I do a charity stream, I want to do Able Gamers, because boy howdy, like, I love what they do and I want to really support them. And then there's just one day, we did a Saturday, and we planned for the see if we could do. We originally set out for like 12 hours, so we started like around 10 a.m. Mostly because like we were just for the first instance, my OBS at the time, we were just like, okay, everything's good. I did a test stream the night before, everything's great. We hit live and it would not go live. So it's like, so it was delayed for a couple hours. I was trying to figure out like, what the fuck is OBS not working? Aww. And we played Splatoon 2 and Horizon Zero Dawn for the live stream. It was me, my buddy Joey, also known as Linkblade Zero, and my buddy Mike, also known as Mind Knives. And we streamed for 8 hours. And we had like a full system, we had like this little snowball mic, we had my full-on computer setup, we had like my laptop, so we had a way to watch, so we had a way to watch the stream while we're all in like my futon on one screen.
I remember
and, like,
this.
It's one of those moments just one of those moments where it's like, after it was done, unfortunately I cannot remember how much money we raised. Like we had a goal for 1,000. I do remember we didn't make that goal, but we got close. Like it was basically close. And it was, the awesome part was like we streamed for 8 hours. And we were just like, oh my gosh. And then afterwards there was a Twitch meetup at a restaurant. And it was that moment, like as we walked into the restaurant, the people there knew what we were up to. We got a round of applause as we walked into the restaurant, as they had a section reserved for just us as we walked in, and it was just that moment of just like, like, it was that moment like we did good, like where, like, we didn't hit our goal, but we did support we did support this charity, and I can't remember, like we even checked the rankings on there, like we were within the top 10 in those rankings too. And it was like, of course, course number one is like Markiplier, and we knew like, yeah, we're not gonna top that. But it was like that moment, like we're within the top 10 streamers. This is sick.
Amazing.
And and it's also like we've always wanted to, we've always wanted to go back into charity live streams, and unfortunately, like it's been so difficult to collaborate. But it was just one of those moments, like, yeah, we did that. We did a charity live stream for 8 hours, and we're not completely drained as we just downed like these garlic burgers at this restaurant.
Oh, see, I was there for the Splatoon part, not the Horizon Zero Dawn. So I remember that. I remember Quindle and I, because she like her association was orange, mine was purple because Purple Dragon, and just the
that's right.
funniest.
Empire. I forgot.
Yes.
Empire till now.
It was so.
For those who don't know, in Splatoon, usually you have these two teams, and they go by colors.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the most common matchups we kept getting was the purple team and the orange team. So, and it was just to that moment where, of course, Dragyn would take the violet side, and it became the Violet Empire, and then the other side would be orange for Quindle. I can't remember what her team was called, but essentially, like, whenever we get those colors, the chat became divided.
Oh yeah.
Just in terms like who did they support? Because obviously, when you queue up in Splatoon, your teams are randomized. Like, it's not always guaranteed your team members, your friends are going to be on the same team as you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's like whenever it was split, it was moment of, all right, pick a side.
Yeah. Oh, that was a fun, chaotic chat. It was good times.
Oh yeah, it was. And it's definitely one of those moments like I really want to go back, but it's definitely we're at this moment of it's like nowadays, like now that I've gotten a bunch older, like doing like an 8-hour stream, it's like, oh man, I'm gonna need so much water, burritos. Like I will need, like, it was that moment, like I knew it was like I needed that pack, because in that stream, like we were like I packed out a common snacks, like I had Oreos, I had chips, I had soda, like we like all like of course like pure junk, but it was whereas that moment like something to give us that boost of energy when we really needed it.
Yeah.
And it was that moment where it's like the one trip to the grocery store, just like carrying in like 5 to 6 bags of just junk food and to ensure that we had everything before.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so I made sure we were ready.
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny. I was definitely I still am a heavy coffee drinker, let's be real, but I would be like there for the whole Splatoon part, and then I think I had to go to work that night because I worked at a pizza place and evenings were my life. But I just remember, like, I think I'm on coffee number 4. Like, I always was that person, like, in charity streams, like, well, here's coffee number 3, guys. Here we go. I'm here for the long run. And I was that. I mean, I was a pretty good moderator for all the charity streams I was moderating for at the time, which was like for Pat. I was a mod for Patrick, for at the time the Major Paya, now Justin, as we all kind of know. I modded for him. I modded for Gar for a very brief time until he filled the rest of the mods, basically. And he's just like, you go focus on Pat's community. You've got Pat's community. I will take care of my community, kind of thing. I was like, okay, Gar, kind of thing. But yeah, I just was the one that was. I remember my first charity stream. This is such a random aside, but it was D-Live's 30-hour one, and I ended up being there for the full. Not the full time, because there's one time. I mean, between all the breaks I had to take, like making food and like that kind of stuff, it was basically 20.5 hours of the 30 I was there for, and I just was like, I don't think I could actually physically ever do this again. That was a lot. And then Patrick does a 24-hour stream the one time that went for 27 because it's Pat and he likes his games. I remember that one and I'm just like, Pat, I haven't slept yet. Pat, you're continuing? Pat, please no. Like slowly dying. Like, buddy, I've not slept like you. We need to sleep. But okay. It's Minecraft. I'll stay for Minecraft. Kind of thing. Okay. And then whenever I would be at most charity streams for the full time if possible, or at least most of it, and it would be those are the most special streams I think to be a part of. Whether you're doing it yourself or modding it or just be a viewer, they're so much fun. I love them.
Yeah, and my last one that I know that made one of the biggest impacts. It's
Mm.
not a particular stream, but it was just a particular moment. It was 2017, and it was the year that affiliates became a thing on Twitch. And
Yes.
by this time, I was heavily in college. Like, for those who do not know, I was currently going to Salt Lake Community College, which is a community college here in Utah, and I was going for my Associates of Applied Science in Multimedia. And it was getting to the point where it's like close to the end of my degree, and it was where you were on a project constantly. You were had an art project you were constantly working on. So it was like a period like when that solo semester started, it was basically no Twitch. Like there was like zero chance I could stream like at all.
Yeah.
And it sucked because it is as a person who loves to perform, who loves to entertain, it crushed me that it's just where it's like there was just no way because I know if I stream, I'm followed by homework in all these aspects. It was I couldn't even like a lot of times I would try to pop into streams, but a lot of times it would just be background noise. So like my presence was like gone.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember when affiliates were announced, I looked at the path to affiliate, and I knew it was like the only thing I needed this stream for a certain amount of hours for 7 days,
Yeah.
and I would just like that's all I was focused on that semester was I'm as soon as summer hits, I'm gonna knock those 7 days out of the park. Like I was just determined.
Yep.
And it was also the year where it was there was TwitchCon was announced, and I became I was determined that like I'm gonna go to TwitchCon,
Mm.
and I remember I remember I was actually at the dentist's office, like just waiting for my dentist to come in, and I just check my email, and I get the message, TwitchCon tickets are now live, and I'm like, ah, where's my credit card? And like I'm buying my ticket as soon as I could
Oh,
because
amazing.
I keep hearing like I've never been to like a convention like like of any kind like this. So I'm like, oh no, is this one of those ones where it's like if you don't order now, it's gonna sell out quickly? So I just immediately buy my ticket, and it was I got through checkout, and it's like, ah, finally. All right, let's fill in these 50 cavities. I'm happy now.
Oh my
Like, at the
god.
moment, I didn't care what the dentist did. It was like, yeah, let's do a root canal. Let's do 17. I don't care. I'm going to TwitchCon,
Yeah.
and so that's how it started. And then later on, finally, summer vacation hits. I'm like, I'm not taking summer classes. I need to get an affiliate. And I remember I did I did Stardew Valley, I did Grand Theft Auto, I like any games I knew I could stream for long periods of time,
Yeah.
and it was just like within that time I see that you're approved for affiliate, and it's just like yes,
Ah.
and then later get a notification like from TwitchCon. It's like you were approved for it for like going for general admission to an affiliate pass. I'm like, ah, yes.
Ah.
And that's where it's like 2017 was just the sweet spot of streaming. That's when it's like,
Yeah.
okay, that's when before like I would just stream what I could and I just hang out with friends. This is when it's like I'm gonna bring my A game. I'm gonna have a schedule. Like this one is like I really like wanted to devote
Yeah.
so much more time to streaming.
What
And
was the
it was
game
just
that you
moment of
played a
just, like,
lot? Played a game that started with an X, I think? No. It was a game. I remember creating the.
XCOM 2.
Yes! Oh my god. I remember that
Yes,
year
'cause
with
it was
being
also
like the
around
year of
that time
XCOM.
Oh yeah, I was very addicted to that game, and it
Yeah.
was just to the moment of what I did like later in that year because of where it's like, okay, I got my ticket, but I also need to get a hotel and plane to make sure I get there. And this is where it's like I did not plan that far, and it was like, going to be like $700 like minimum for me to be able to fly out there, to ensure that I had a place to stay and fly back home. And and it also like in about like $100 to ensure like okay, I can also have food while I'm there too.
Yeah.
So it was at that moment like I didn't want to, because I'm a person that does not like asking for money, and it's mostly because like usually when I've asked like my parents for money, it's immediately like like they immediately like, "Ugh, why do you keep spending your money? You need to be saving up for your stuff for college and all this stuff." So I would immediately like it would be like a negative thing to reach out and ask for money, but it was mostly I just reached out like on Twitter, and I just opened up and allowed myself to be vulnerable and just asked, "Hey, would you guys be okay if I asked you to help me go to this convention?" It was like it was just that moment where it's like within like minutes, like it was just overwhelming. Like, yes, we would love to support you, and I'm like, oh my gosh, really? Okay. So I set up like I opened up a tip jar. I had a donation goal, and I had it like it was like, and I had it to a goal where it's like as I'm playing XCOM, for people who donated, I make them into a character. And then the other thing I had to make sure very clearly, because if you're unfamiliar with XCOM 2, it's basically aliens have invaded Earth, and you are the resistance against them to ensure that they do not take over the Earth. And
Mm-hmm.
it's also very known as a very turn-based, like RNG-based tactics game.
Yeah.
So RNG is very much not in your favor on a lot of missions. So I always have to make very sure, like, thank you so much for your donation, and I also make very clear that your donation is not insurance. If you donate a high amount, I still can't guarantee you'll survive. And I've had people who survived the entire campaign. I've had people who donated and their character died on their very first mission.
Yep.
And it was just immediate like, and that's what like really helped. And it was like within like I believe it was like months. I finally and I just that's all I streamed was like just to keep it going, because people love like people love like seeing themselves on on in this game and in their likeness and what, even if it's just their name.
Mm-hmm.
And and then I hit into one little snag where I can't remember what it was. I think it was like a student loan payment that just went through without my knowledge.
Oh.
And it was so they and I put the money into my main account, and so it was just one of those moments of like I lost $500 like that. And it was just that moment of like I was super like it was like I was super behind on payments, and I knew that, but it was just with that moment like, hey, I have like it was the moment I barely got any hours, as I lifeguarded at a public rec center at the time.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
barely getting any hours as I'm going through college, so I had nothing. So it was just where it's like I just didn't make any payments because it was just all that. But what am I gonna do? I can't even make the minimum.
Mm.
And then they just forced a payment, and it was like $500 something just gone like that, and that was my all the money that was earned for the community. And I just broke, because it's like this is money that people just gave me
Mm.
so I could go on this trip, and now it's like gone.
Yeah.
It was that moment like I was just like, what do I do? And I just went into like all the discords, like Vent's channel, because I needed to tell something, because this is where it's
Mm-hmm.
like people gave me money for this. I can't just hide this. And thankfully, all the communities that I just vented out to
Mm-hmm.
were super understanding, and they were like, oh, like, oh man, that really sucks.
Mm-hmm.
It is like we still support you. And then I just remember that same day, I just like, okay, I streamed, and I did my usual like intro music, and then I just remember like I didn't even come on cam yet. I'm still in like my little intro screen, and I just cut the music, and I just got real with people and like how
Yeah.
I'm not okay. I really hate to do this, but I need like $500 to go this. And I didn't even start the game. One person donated $500 like that.
Mm.
And my good old buddy Palf, I still thank you to this day. And it was that moment like my tears of just brokenness went to the tears of just joy, because I remember seeing like the $500 donation go off. I first just waited for, oh no, I didn't, I put an extra zero. Like I waited for like I waited for them to ask for a refund. Like I honestly did not think that was a serious donation. But then I just got the message like, I want you to go to TwitchCon. You are meant to go there. And it was just that moment, like, I'm at the title screen of the game and I met my goal.
Yeah.
That's how I knew it was at that moment where it's like, I'm in the right place. This is where it is. I don't, it's like, as much as I want to say, this is where I'm meant to be, but it's definitely where I'm surrounded by the very people that truly do support for who I am, what I do, and what I stand for. And it's not just not because I make goofy sounds and I'm just entertaining. It's like they want me to succeed. And it was and I just remember, like, I continued on, and people, I kept the donation goal on screen to let people know that like we made it, and people are popping in like, holy crap, we did it. So me going to TwitchCon, I didn't go. It was more than just me going by myself. It was when I took off on that plane, it was like I just felt the entire community like behind me as I was going to this convention. And it's definitely that convention. It was my first time going to a convention that big, and I remember it was also the same year with all the affiliates came through. So I thought, like, okay, I'm gonna be surrounded by a sea of affiliates and partners, and that's just gonna be it. There wasn't that many affiliates that I could find, like, and if they were there, they were not around me. So and it was just, I had an interesting exchange to where, like, a lot of times, like, we're in this line in Long Beach, California, and a lot of times, like, everyone has stories about their streams and such, whether they were just a viewer or the actual streams. But I remember, like, one of the last days, like, I was in line to go in, and these guys were just talking, just having a conversation, and I decided to join them. And then they saw my affiliate badge, and they was like, nah, dude, you gotta be careful. He's an affiliate. And I thought, like, in my head, it's just like, yeah, like, everyone's an affiliate. What are you talking about? It was at that moment, I really did not think how, like, some people's journeys to affiliate are really difficult. Like, people really had to grind those, like, get the viewerships and they do get those times in. I was just, thanks to like Patrick and Gar, I was spoiled in getting to that affiliate status. Like, it was no problem at all. So it was at that moment where it's just like, holy crap. I didn't think of it. Some people, like, the affiliate level is difficult. So it is where it's like, that's when it really just dawned on me as I'm in this line in the hot sun of Long Beach that it's like how far I really came, and like in that moment. And it was just like, I looked at my affiliate badge in a whole different light.
Yeah. Damn. That's crazy. Oh, I remember, because I got affiliate the same year. Because that was like the first year it came out, and then I was like, oh, I'm going to try doing this. And I remember struggling with the average viewer for the longest time, because you had to get to 3 average viewers, like, within a certain amount of period of time. And I was like, I got spam here. Yay. Thanks, spam, kind of thing. And then, Pat did the one raid, and then suddenly I was like, I was a spam, and then you were there every once in a while when you could, because you were a busy college boy, and I mean, I was still in college too, so there's that life. We have many stories of us, like, being in a call together, just working on projects. Well, that was us, just working, and being there like, hey, you doing okay? Need anything? Okay, good, we're good.
Yeah, we were college cheerleaders to each other for years.
Oh, yeah.
We were just, like, we were in the path to success. And the one thing I'm just super grateful, we graduated the same year, and that's when it's just like, for us, where it's like, yes,
we made it,
finally be free.
Yeah, because, like, we both had our ups and downs with it. Like, I remember that it was typography, wasn't it, in your class that you struggled with?
Yeah, typography. This is where, like, for those who don't know, I'm sorry, Dragyn. We're gonna have to go through a dark path here. So,
I mean, we brought up college,
typography-
so it's fair.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, for those who don't know what typography, it is basically the art of type, which is like ways of letters, and it's more than just like you just make very pretty fonts. It was like you make art in the ways of words, and both theoretically and literally. Like I remember had to study fonts. Like I had to come up with all these projects, and the this is this is how bad this class was. For those who are familiar with art classes, you know, like the usual drill. You make your rough drafts, you get and then you get like maybe do like a half size, and you get an idea, and then you do your final, and like you just hand it into your teacher, or you do a presentation with it. That's how the normal art classes would go. This professor was the one that's been at this community college for like 20 plus years. So she has been in the art industry. She obviously she knows her stuff, but she was it is my way and no one else's. She had a system down. Like she wanted you to make like a certain like for like one project could be like, okay, I want you to make 10 rough drafts, and I want you to take those rough drafts, make 5 of those a quarter size, and then I want you to take 2 of those and make them the half sizes, and then I want you to take your final one and do it like a full size, and then you go on the computer. Each of these, and this is another thing, each of these steps were graded. So your final piece could be absolutely amazing, but if she didn't like your rough drafts, that affected your final grade.
Yeah.
And if for a good example of this, the project was basically you had to make a magazine cover and a full page spread, and it is where and I did this, and then my you had to pick like as if it's like you're taking an old movie as if it's like brand new, and I did one for like Al Capone, so the front cover is like the actor of Al Capone, but it's like it's picture, but I had it stylized in a way where it was masked to where like Al Capone like was seen all across his face, like his name like filled in his face, and they had the full on like layout, and it was stylized, and it was by far like one of the best works I ever done. And I remember I got the final grade on the final project. I got a 98 out of 100. I was like, wow, that's great. But then I looked at the absolute final score, it was a D. And I'm like, what?
Right?
And then I looked, she graded my preliminary work so low. She did not like my rough drafts. She hated my quarter size. She hated my half size, like all that stuff. And I just at that moment, I just remembered like and it was also one of those projects where you didn't just like, oh, you turn your final projects. You had to mount them. So you had to like find this very specific mounting materials, spray them with this special glue, and then align them just right. Because if anything was off, you would find like little markings of like gray Sharpie where it's like, oh, your alignment was a little off here and all this. It was like mine was like near perfect. And I remember just taking that freaking poster board and like judo chopping it over my leg and threw it in the garbage. Like I was that upset. And then it was where like, and this was just regular typography. I had to take regular typography and then advanced.
Yeah.
And guess who was the professor for both those classes?
Oh man.
And this to keep in mind, like, and it was to the point, like, those were the only 2 classes I had left to take to order to graduate. Like normally when I went to college classes, I'd always get 12 credit hours, so basically like a full-time student. When I got down to her, the typography was the only class, and then advanced typography was the only class in those 2 semesters.
Yeah.
And it was that moment, like the level of work you were doing, as if I was working on the normal 12 credit hours, like pace. And this is something I'm not afraid to announce publicly. Like when it got to advanced typography, is at that moment like I know your system, I know how to get through. I cheated in almost every assignment. I knew how to cheat on everything. And
Yeah.
like when I passed her class, I wanted so badly just walk just to start walking. It's like, oh, Miss Gonzalez, I just want to say I cheated on every assignment. Bye. Like I wanted to so bad. Just that
Oh.
moment's like, I prove your system has flaws. And then after that moment, like I hopped on Twitch and I was a graduated man. I put
Mm-hmm.
on my Oculus Rift and I played Beat Saber in celebration.
Ah, yes.
Yes, it was at that moment. It's like I am out of the system.
Yeah. Yeah. And like with us working on things together on my end of things, it was I so I failed my first year of university, just gonna admit that openly, because I mean it was a crappy first year of university. Both my grandparents passed away and worked full time. And doing full time courses. Not a good combination of life at all. And so my
Yeah.
second year I had to take all of my options and like just one core class per semester basically. So it was a really easy breezy year. I mean, I could kind of BS my way through some of those option classes and ended up with like B's and C's. Not too bad. But then the rest of my university program, the next 3.5 years after that, was all core, like my major courses, my minor courses, and my ed courses. It was just those left. Nothing fun, nothing easy. You could not BS your way through those ones. And there was one semester, I think like the same thing with like what Crumpler was dealing with, like kind of creating draft after draft after draft. For me, I was taking 3 English classes at one point and 2 education classes. And I had to write papers and essays using 3 different styles of referencing at one point. It was like MLA, Chicago, and APA. And God, that sucked because, like, yeah, again, I had one prof for one of my English classes goes, create your outline for your essay, submit that, we'll go over it, give you feedback. Create your rough draft, submit that, we'll give you feedback. Final draft, and we'll see how we'll add all 3 together to kind of give you your final grade. God, that was so awful because I was just getting used to like some of the one style, like MLA. I was like, okay, I got the system down. I know MLA. I'm good. And then boom, the other 2 references came at me, and I was like, how does one reference anything anymore? I just was in that kind of state, and I was doing Spanish classes too. So eventually, leading closer to like again the year that we both graduated. At one point, I was writing Spanish essays, I was writing English essays, I was writing education-related essays, all in one semester. My brain imploded a lot during those last few semesters, for sure.
Yeah. Gosh, my brain just sparked a memory. I don't know when this was, but I remember when you kept complaining like you had to set up the 2 keyboards for both English and Spanish. And there's many times you had to remember to switch back
Yep.
to make sure that you were on the right keyboard.
Yep. Oh yeah. I would like finish the one Spanish project and then immediately go to the English project going, nope.
Yeah, I remember like one of your cries for help messages. It was like, Crumpler, I keep typing in Spanish. Tell me to stop, please. And you, like just that moment, like you were just at a breaking point. I just like, I couldn't help but laugh. But it was that I was like, Dragyn buddy, okay, let's take a breather. And it's that moment, like I'm trying to console you, but I'm laughing the entire time.
Oh yeah, I mean, I look back at those moments and laugh.
You're just like utter, like panic and Spanish memes were surrounding my noggin as I'm trying to comfort you, and so it's like I'm trying to comfort you, but I'm also laughing because the memes were strong.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's how I coped in university. Was like sends memes of like crying in Spanish, laughing in Spanish, panic in Spanish. Oh, great telenovelas were shared like moments where I screen grab and like write my own like I'm panicking in Spanish.
Exactly.
Oh, it was so funny. Oh, I remember those moments a lot. Yeah, because these papers, as you went higher, became like 1,500 words. Not bad. To like 5,000 words by like the last like actual semester that I did before my practicums. And I was like, I'm sorry, 5,000 Spanish words? I think I know 10. I think I'm like learned less Spanish as I went into higher levels than I learned more. I don't think my brain can work with this anymore.
Oh, sweet Moses, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and so I remember sitting down with the one Spanish prof because he was teaching me. We did the Caribbean Spanish, which was a really cool course because it's like about like the Bahamas and Costa Rica and like all those areas. A very really cool course. And I just sat down with him at one point in his office hours, going, "I want to write about Nicaragua because we didn't talk about Nicaragua at all this semester." But I don't know what to do. And I just admitted straight up, like, I don't know what to do. I have the country, but nothing else. And he's like, well, you can't write a 5,000 word on just the country. You need a topic about the country. And I was like, help! Straight up, like, in his office hours, like, sitting there, like, twiddling my thumbs going, help! Ideas, please. Panic. And then he told me about this utopian society. Like, they actually had a utopian island at one point for about 20 years, oddly enough, where it was like instead of money and goods being or money being like used for purchases, it was artwork and poetry and painting and like all this beautiful things that they used to trade for services and goods, and it just improved the society, like this island's life completely. And oddly enough, Americans did this, and I was like, well, okay. Like, at the time, I always make jokes to my American friends, like, oh look, they did something right. Sorry, Americans, I love you, but it was a fun joke to make at the time.
Hey, I'm one of those things. I guess she's talking about me.
Yeah, so then, like, he gave me a few ideas. He's like, there's also this beautiful singer, there's this, like, cool, like, you could write about the history of the flag of Nicaragua, and I was like, history of flags? No, I'm good. We got Sheldon Cooper for that one. So then, yeah, he just gave me all of these, like, articles to use about this utopian society, and I just remember writing this paper, working very hard on it, because obviously, I didn't come up with the topic on my own, so technically I was like, I need to impress him with this, because it's not my own idea, it's his idea. I'm gonna work very hard on this, and it led to, like, staying awake till 3, 4 a.m. most nights, just writing in English, translating it to Spanish. Yes, I live downtown, hell of sirens, Jesus. And then working.
You know, boys, he's talking about the Americans. We're gonna take her down.
I mean, fair. It's all good. But I just spent so many hours translating my paper to make it just hopefully sound good in Spanish. That's the only thing I wanted in this, like, one last final paper. And then I submitted it, and I'm not, my Spanish writing wasn't the greatest. I would get maybe 60, 70s on a paper, because it's a different language, guys. It's hard. Very hard. But that paper I got an 88 on. And I just remember, like, he met with me after, because this is like a final paper, so we didn't have a final exam in this course. It was just this paper. So all the ducks were on this paper for me. And I just sat down with him, and he's just like, if you had put in as much effort on this one paper for the other papers this semester, you could have been an A student for my class. And I was just like, I tried. And he's like, no, I'm not saying that, like, how dare you be lazy. I could see the effort throughout the whole semester, but this paper was stunning. There's some conjugation things that I had to, like, mark you down for, because it's Spanish and you have to use the proper superlative and all these fancy language words. But then overall, he's like, if you had written it perfectly, like grammatically, you probably could have gotten like 90 or something in there, like on this paper. And he goes, so I take it you wish we had a utopian society after all. Like, that was the final, like, question he asked me after this review of the paper. It was like, I take it you wish the world was more utopian in nature than dystopian, huh? And I'm like, yep, please. Just, yep. And it was the funniest way to end a semester. It was just like, yep. But we're never gonna get that, are we? And he's like, not up here. I was like, man, Canada, come on. But yeah, there's a lot of those nights where, like, it was between Crumpler and Spam, actually, where during university, like, actually at campus, if Spam and I had the same break, we'd be together, like, working on things, because he was doing coding. So look at all three of us here: typography, the art of fonts and, like, very fancy writing. Then there's me writing, not fancy writing, but very research-based writing. And then he was doing coding, which is, he had to learn 4 or 5 coding languages throughout, like, a couple semesters. And so it would just be us quietly grinding away, just on the computer, just type. And then every once in a while someone would say something. I'm like, what? Are you okay? Do you need anything? Nope. Okay, we're good. I'm like, go forward. But that's what made streaming so much fun for all of us, is that break from the grind.
Yeah, and I remember there many times, like, while I was, like, doing typography, it's like, Dragyn, I haven't slept. So, and you're just being like, why? It's like, I had to make all these rough drafts. Because, like, a lot of, like, this, I think I should just clarify. This is how I cheated when it came to this typography class.
Mm.
Whenever the project was, I did, because what she wanted you to do, she wanted you to don't go right to the computer. She wanted you to do all your rough drafts and do all the stuff by hand. So like the rough drafts, the quarter size, the half size, full size. She wanted you to do all of those by hand before you touch the computer.
Mm.
I went in reverse order. I went did computer first, and then I did my rough drafts. So
Ah.
like when I got those projects where it's like I got the final product got 90, like I said, the one that got 98, that's what I did. I did the magazine cover like first on a computer, and she even says like, oh, this looks great. It's like, yeah, I prove your system doesn't work. So I would just be like in a sea of papers, and I would just like check, like, how you doing? And it's like, yeah, I'm surviving. It's like, yeah, me too. I haven't slept. And you were like, Crumpler. It's just like, I had to draw so many pictures.
Yeah, because, like, that's the difference between him and I. Is, like, I would stay up, till, like, 4 or 5 a.m. and then, like, sleep for at least 2 hours or 3 hours kind of thing, then, like, go to school. And I had a regular coffee place that they knew my name. I was that university kid,
Yeah.
everyone. I would at least, though, get a couple hours of sleep. So whenever Crumpler messaged me going, I haven't slept, I'm like, buddy! And that's where Mama Dragyn really came to light, was like
Yes,
those university years. Because I'm like, Crumpler, no, buddy, you need to sleep, go nap.
Yeah, because like I'm a person like I'm a person who doesn't very rarely stays up late.
Yeah.
Like if I'm staying up late, it's for good reason. So like when by the time I got to this typography class, all nighters became common.
Mm.
Like more than they should. So there's that moment where it's like I made sure like I didn't hide anything from you. Like if I was not okay, I made sure to tell you that I was not okay.
Yeah, there was many moments where like you would admit that I'd be like, "Okay, incoming," and like call. I just
I would just
yeah.
like, how's your day? It's like, how much time do you have?
Yeah, exactly. And I'd be like, well,
like whether it was just venting sessions or it's just like, hey, I need to talk how crappy my teacher is right now.
exactly. And it's very funny because I was like going into education, so I'm like, yes, tell me what not to do as a teacher, Crumpler. Yes, give me this. I need
Exactly.
fuel
And
for
then
my career.
There were many. Yeah, and there was many times where just like that's what the American education is like. It's like pretty much.
Yeah.
Like I would just all it would be.
Yeah. Those were really good times, and I think a lot of us were at university and streaming though. Like Spam was, you were, I was. Pat had finished college, or yes, he was a college kid when he started doing all this as well. So it's funny that all of us like college kids came together to do the streaming stuff, and it was really fun.
Yes.
Which is fun. We just have a few questions left, and we're already over an hour, which is really great. I love it. I love everything is content.
Warned you.
I know.
I warned you the moment you said like, "Oh, we have an hour." I'm like, I'm a storyteller. You know that it's not going to stay within the hour.
And I was anticipating it because my last few episodes were less than an hour, so I'm like, I'm going for more, and I knew I picked the right guest for this.
The only way you could have made this short if you kept the yes and no questions.
Well, then that would not be a good podcast, wouldn't it?
No, it would not.
Well, this one could be a yes or no question, but I'm going to get you to explain it because I'm an English teacher, and I want a yes or a no and why. There you go. Do you feel, Mr. Crumpler 64, do you feel like you've made an impact as a streamer?
Definitely without question. And there's many times where I know like when I say like I'm an influencer, I'm basically one of those people that is a black sheep that sometimes forgets he is a black sheep.
Yeah.
I have many stories where I've been put on a pedestal, and there's many times where I've had someone put me in my place. And it's just where like I forget the level of influence I have over people. And it's just one of those moments where I almost like put it like a borderline where it's like I could have mind control at some points where it's just like I just say something and people do it, and it just and whether it's my intentions or not is just that moment like, oh no. And there were many times where people come back to me like, oh, I got into this game or I got into this movie because of me, and it just where it's like normally like, oh wow, I didn't realize. But when you multiply that,
Yeah.
where like the ideas of like Dungeons and Dragons, Magic the Gathering, XCOM, and like Grand Theft Auto, like or like Splatoon, or just like these games are just like, yeah, I just played them. But many people that say like, oh, I got into this game because of Crumpler 64, and it's just like, oh shoot, and it's also like the moments I always remember like the impact I have with it. It's just where whenever I like do a certain communities, some people see me as a celebrity,
Mm-hmm.
and I am a person who will like many people have an idea like what their ideal finish line for them to be successful, whether it's just it's a lot of money, they're to get they get recognition, or like everyone has like kind of like their visual finish line. I'm one of those people that doesn't. So I will
Mm.
never I clearly know that, yeah, I have a following, but I'm not famous. But then I'll just casually mention it's like, yeah, I'm friends with Wade, Gar, and Patrick, that and just like casually like drop names of people I've played with just super casually, and people's just like, oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So those are the pedestal moments where it's just like, oh shoot, I made impact with these, you know, yes, I would say like people that have their names on the internet and are well known. And I just
Yeah.
very casually, yes, I'm the guy that doesn't drink and golf with drunks. That's me. And I made very sure, like from day one, like the moment I became like really hard focused onto streaming, that I knew that I'm a person that very much has their ear to the ground when it comes to like live entertainment in all these fashions. So I very much know that I need to do this right. I don't want, because you always hear, you always hear the drama stories of like so and so got involved with so and so and now they're married and now they're not together and now they're falling apart and destroying their lives.
Mm.
And it was just where like I made sure it's like I'm gonna be a positive influence no matter what. Is
Yeah.
is where it's like I want to be real, I want to be entertaining, I want to be that the kind of streamer that I'm proud of.
Mm-hmm.
And and I and I've had moments where I just like a lot of it's like I'm also a stats nerd, so it's very easy to look at the numbers, like like I'm always looking at my follower count, like sub points, and I'm always looking at those because it's data, and I like looking at data and pie charts and line graphs and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So like for me, it's like I love looking at that, and it's just for a lot of times where it's like, well, a lot of times when I see like oh I lost a follower, like and it's very easy to get like kind of like, oh no, I'm falling behind, and it's just where it's just like, no, it's
Mm-hmm.
just that person is just or bot, you never know.
True.
So it just where it's like you just like they made they had their fill and they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
And it just a lot of times where just like when I stream, like a lot of the times like you just find the people that you just have not like I've been on Twitch for like 6 years, folks. So
Mm-hmm.
to see like ever so often you get the people that you have not been around for so long, whether it was life or they moved or like like whatever the case, and they just come back, and you just get immediate nostalgia seeing their name popping in chat, and you're just super happy to the point like you forget what game you're playing, you're just having a conversation.
Yeah.
and it was always and it's always been my journey to make sure that whatever impact I have on people is always a positive one. Like I want to make you laugh. I want to make sure like whatever your day that you are having, like whether you had to work at like a 17-hour shift and you were just drained and you are just looking up for a place to where you can feel safe and a place where you can just finally smile. Like I always make sure like you are welcome. Like even if you're a lurker, I love lurkers. They are like I know you're out there, lurkers. So I just that moment where it's like you're more than just a single viewer point. I love you so much, and
Mm-hmm.
I always make sure that I'm the influence. And it's just always a moment like I forget of the impact I have
Yeah.
from from them until like a lot of times when people approach me, like and they again they either put me on a pedestal or they put me in my place. And when they put me in my place is like when I just realize that they either like they reminisce like a lot of times they're just like embarrassing moments I've done in streams and such, and I just lose it in the moment. It's just like, oh yeah, I remember that.
Mm.
And it's definitely where it's like I'm definitely continuing my impact. I try to always make it as a positive experience, but it's just has that moment where it's like it's easy for me as a person to forget that, because I'm always looking at like the quality of the streams, looking at the data, looking at myself, and then but I'm not always truly looking at the audience. Because a lot of times, like when you're streaming, you're talking to a void, and a lot of times you get that media feedback, or you don't get that feedback at all. And there's just moments where you lose track of all that, and then there's sometimes where it's just like all it takes is just that one person reminiscing a memory of the stream that you did like 5 years ago and how they miss it, and just like and just like it brings you back to earth.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah.
Sorry, I'm getting distracted by the traffic. Apparently, downtown Edmonton in Canada is full of noise. Yes, I'm literally yelling out my window right now.
It's
Don't worry about
close
it.
to 4:30 your time, so is it around like everyone's like leaving work?
I guess. I mean, yeah, we're fully opened up here now for just a random COVID update, so I guess people are coming back to the office.
I don't know how things work in Canada land, but here in the United States, it's usually around the 4 o'clock marks is when like the rush hour, everyone coming home, and it's just like it's kind of the joke from just done them. It's like gosh, it's like everyone like watches the traffic, and it's like, what is the traffic going in this morning? Everyone is going to work at the same time. Check back later today, and they're going the other way.
True. I guess normally I am like sleeping till this time, so I'm not very aware of it normally because I work overnights. Suddenly I'm just like, do I sleep through this noise regularly? Damn, good job me. It's kind of where I'm at right now. Like,
yeah.
Good job.
And that's another thing, people on the inside. If you ever wonder when there's moments where like I don't stream for long, for there's big gaps in me streaming. I'm currently employed at the KUTV Channel 2 News. My shift starts at I wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and then I head to work. So like, and my day is done like around 1 o'clock when the news show is done. There are sometimes I go home and I sleep, and I'm like, it's about like a couple hours. Sometimes I sleep and I wake up at midnight. It's just a moment I'm just like, oh shoot, the day is gone. Well, back to bed.
Yeah. I'm in a different spot. I start my shifts usually around 11:30 p.m. and then I'll either be off at 3:30, 4 a.m. kind of thing, or 8 a.m. And so those are the days where I'm like, I could either get lots of sleep after my 4 a.m. shift and be like super solid and good to go. And then the shifts that I work until 8 a.m., it's more of like, I could sleep a little bit, but I have other things to do. And that's kind of what happened today a little bit. I was like, got home, set all this stuff up for Crumpler, and I was like, I gotta go to bed. Sorry, buddy. I'm gonna only get like 6 hours of sleep before this. Like, I gotta go to bed. And yeah, I'm on like 6 hours of sleep.
Oh, 6 hours? What's that like?
I mean, that's the first time this week I've had 6 hours of sleep. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's weird.
And also, it just reminded me, like, going back on the question of, like, it made an impact as a streamer. At one point, I had to work an evening shift, because basically, like, one of the workers had to go to the vet as an emergency. And my boss texted me, he's like, hey, you live stream on Twitch, right? And I was like, yeah. It's like, yeah, my son is looking into getting the stream. You mind if you send me the link to your channel for inspiration? And I'm just like, I'm sending my boss my Twitch channel to inspire his son to see what a broadcaster looks like. And it's just that moment, it's just like, I'm pretty sure this is one of the few times where it's like, for anyone that is listening, really think about, if your boss asks you, do you broadcast on Twitch? What is the first thing going through your head? I'm pretty sure it's not positive.
Yeah, like, oh no.
I'm pretty sure it's like, why do you want to know?
Yeah, like, oh no, did they find my channel? Oh my god, did I just embarrass myself in front of my boss because they found my content? Yeah, I've been there.
Exactly. It's yeah, it's just one of the jobs where I just very openly send my boss my Twitch channel, and yeah,
that's really cool.
That's the level of impact where it's just like my status is also carried over here the ways of, since early days in 2015 to like nowadays where people at my work who are on TV want to know the waves of Twitch. What is Twitch like? And I'm just like, you're making like $10,000 a day in comparison to what I do, but I'm and like when you're looking at me, it's like, tell us what it's like. And it's just like, what the fudge? This should be the other way around.
Yeah, no kidding. Tell me how you make your money, please.
Yeah, it's like they read a teleprompter, they read off the things of sports and like all this stuff, and I'm just like, yeah, I play video games from home. What is that like? And it's like,
Wow. Oh, that's so cool though. Like, I feel like that's like your big
it is
maiden
weird
moment.
for the role where yeah, it's again like going back to Impact, where it's just like,
Yeah.
you're on TV. Why do you care?
Oh, that's so cool. I remember
Anyway,
watching
next
that.
question. I feel like we're gonna go off a tangent real quick.
No kidding. I just was gonna say, I remember watching that interview that you shared, like, because I've added Crumpler on all the social medias, and I've seen it all, and it was so cool to see it. I was like, oh, I'm so proud of the buddy, yay! I was like, there's a good make it moment.
I guess I might as well explain that. But like, so I was interviewed on the TV show Fresh Living. It's a show here in Utah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was interviewed for I was a cast member on a D&D live show called Trick Roll.
Yeah.
And it was just one of them moments for me. It was just like, okay, I'm coming on. I'm here to support my buddy Andy, also known as Wart Films, for his project.
Mm-hmm.
Because originally we were going to try to interview him, but he felt like, nah, you have better TV presence. And I was like, to do the interview, and I'm like, okay, fair. But like for me, it was just like, okay, mic on, did the interview, everything's on one take, no problem. So it was again, it's like it was super chill. But the moment like the video was shared, and I like it got around that I was on TV. It was just that moment, like it was, just that moment I just wanted to be like, yeah, whatever. But I forget how big of a deal it is to be on TV after being on Twitch for so long. It's just like, yeah, it's just like I just talking to a camera. I've been doing it for years.
Yeah, and then plus, like, you also work for the news, so there's a little bit of like, yeah, I know the behind the scenes part of this. It's no big deal, but others are like,
exactly. So like I'm like, yeah, I'm like super like neutralized to it, and it's just that moment, like, again, I forget the impact.
well,
and it's like that moment. It's not that I'm not humble or anything, but it's just that moment, like I just forget.
yeah, it's funny to reflect on all this stuff because you're just like, whoa, wait a minute, I did this. What?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, basically that's all it was. Like when you send me all the questions to prepare for that, that's all I did. Any chance I got on my mind pals, and I just reflected this last 6 years.
Yeah.
As a Twitch broadcaster, as a wee man in the ways of Salt Lake City, Utah. It's the moment where it's like somehow made an impact, like several points worldwide.
Yeah, gosh. I mean, to help with the worldwide thing, I was in the UK and watched you stream, so hey, there you go.
Yeah, that was my UK. That was a percentage of my UK percentages. I
Woo!
knew that.
Oh,
And
gosh.
that nerd, guys, I'm always looking at that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, that's amazing. Now, switching to the next part, because this is a good thing. So we've got our, like, made impact. We've got, like, this nice reflection going on here. What are some of the key lessons you've learned from, like, streaming and building your community?
Gosh, for the lessons I've learned, I guess like the best way I can put it is, for a lot of times when people like ask like what does it take to become a streamer, like or how do I start streaming, and everyone will come up with like different answers, but the most common one is like just start.
Yeah.
And the one thing I've learned is, for if there's anyone who's like curious about getting into streaming or just going to YouTube or content creation in general, it's the one perspective when they say, oh, just start. It's perfectly okay to start off with the equipment you have, even if it's like you're working on potato, if you're on a potato computer and you have like a dollar store microphone and all this stuff, like it's perfectly okay to get that start and get going from there. But there's one thing that I basically had to learn is prepare for it if you want to go for the long term. Like this is not just that's just you just stream for the summer and then you're done. Prepare for it to be an investment of some degree.
Yes.
Whether it's just like you are just paying for certain subscription services for software, or like you just have a plan to like you stream and you try to make goals for like get certain hardware, is one thing that I had to learn
Mm-hmm.
is I tried to improve my content video first, then audio second.
Hmm.
That is not really the way how that works, because I thought like, oh, people were gonna care how I look or how the quality of the video is. Not necessarily. Audio is really important. So a lot of times where it's like the very first video I recorded, like I had like my full on like I had like an Alienware laptop, which at the time was like close to top of the line. I had like all the capture software. I had like and like all these games. I could get them at full HD and all this stuff. You want to know what my microphone was? It was just a point and shoot camera
Oh
that
my
I had
gosh.
at the time, and that's where we just push record on it, and we just used the audio from that. So like when I brought in my video editor, I would just take the footage, they take out the video, of course, and then use that as the audio, and try to balance the ways of the video game audio and that.
Oh wow.
And then we and then was just like, well, what should we do like for the next episode? Like we feel like the point and shoot camera, it was okay. Like it really like it was perfectly fine. And then my friends like, hey, I remember like when you had that your Xbox headset, you could pick us very well on that. It's like, yeah, let's bring that. So then we brought over a headset with using that as a microphone in the next episode that we recorded.
Wow.
And I just grabbed my tripod and we just set it we didn't even tape it down. We just set it ever so gently on there and pointed the mic in a general direction of us.
Oh my
And we
gosh.
used that as we were doing our episodes. Now,
Oh
like I know like everyone has their first, but again, like to have good audio, like it's where it's like thankfully nowadays audio is very easy to come by. Like and microphones are
yeah.
galore everywhere, and you don't have to get the full on like snowball yeti as like a lot of people like try to go for because they think like, oh, so and so has this microphone to get this. Like no, it's there are many with the ways of technology nowadays. People there's software in there that even if you have like a $25 mic from like Amazon, whatever, there's software to make it sound much better. And a lot of times where it's like, don't worry about like webcams or like the quality. If people like your voice and even if like people like minimize your content, you're trying.
You gotta get that speeder. He's going to like a 705 down the lane and get him.
Anyway, so if you are sound good, people will eventually just not care about your video footage level. It's it's just ways of entertainment. So that was the one thing I had to learn very much the hard way. And I did not really get a good mic until very much until I got a blue snowball microphone. And I still swear like that is like the microphone that is I still have it and I still use it like when I travel and I want a good microphone and not use the built-in webcam mic to ensure that I can still talk to friends and such. And that was like a $40, like I got it on sale for Best Buy for like $40 and it's still good. And then
Yeah.
that's something to learn and like and and then it's just where it's like as soon as I switched to that mic, I started getting invited to a lot more streams. Because people
Yeah.
like the sound of my beautiful reminiscing voice.
Oh, absolutely. Do some
So
ASMR crumpler
so
now.
that's yeah. So that's one of the biggest lessons I learned is go audio first, don't care about video, and this is where it's at. And then going back to prepare to become an investment. Technology is always advancing. Like there's always that moment like you can have like these killer setups, but nothing is future proof. So it is where that if you in the instance like your graphics card fails, whether you have a desktop computer or in a laptop, is where it's like get ready for like when you stream, like get ready to like investment because like it's basically your technology is now fueling your like as a lot of people say like your technology fuels your success at that moment. Because and also for me it's just like this is mostly for like people that do variety streams. Like I'm a person that just like I stream on PC, on console. I have a special 3DS with a capture card that was modified. This is all the stuff I invested in for the sheer concept of I want to be able, if I want to create content on this particular system, there is a way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So there are I've gone through so many capture cards. I've gone through like by now like I'm on computer number 4 out of the 6 years that I've been as a content creator. So yeah, it's I I have no idea. I only have a smear like glimpse of how much money I've spent in my life of streaming. As I speak into right now, I'm speaking into $100 microphone that is being plugged in into a $300 mixer that makes the fun sound effects.
Oh no.
And
Yep,
and
yep.
all this stuff, and it's like as I'm looking into an ultra wide monitor and then a side monitor, it's like, yeah, this is an investment, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and this is where does this also make me successful? I wouldn't say yes, but it's definitely where like as I continue on this path, I had to move on the same pace as technology. So, and I'm a person that loves technology, so I'm not always a first adopter on stuff. But I always try to get like I need to make sure I get 60 frames per second. I want to make sure that I got good lighting. Let me get the green screen so I look good with like no background. Let me get the $100 webcam so I can look decent. Or but yeah, so it's like it's mostly a forewarning. If you really want to get into it, you start looking at all the pretty toys that other people have, and you'd be like, I want that toy. And then you go buy that toy, and then eventually there'll be a new toy. It's like, I want that new toy. And then and it's just where it's just, as many people say money pit, that's putting it nicely.
Yeah.
So those are things I learned that I should have done at the very beginning. Do audio first, worry about video later, and prepare for an investment if you're going for the long term.
Yeah, that's really good advice. I was gonna say, like, Crumpler, you should be proud of me. My mic that I'm using right now is a blue snowball. Hey. So I finally have invested in one. So yes, it is an investment, but I finally got one. Because oddly enough,
You're welcome.
Yay. Actually, oddly enough, this is from like Flute and Kita at one point. I know like we haven't really stayed in touch and contact very much, but there's times where we would play games with like Quindle and like have crazy nights, and then all of us would be so tired afterwards. And they're like, but we don't want to go yet. We want to still hang out. And so I would just like open up articles of random knowledge, basically, that I found from like BuzzFeed or George Takei, and I would just read these out. I'm like, guys, this is crazy. Do you want to hear this? Like, yeah, sure. Like, of course, at the time they're like East Coast, and I'm like Mountain Time, right? So I'm like 2 hours earlier, so I got a little more energy and gusto. And I just like read these articles out, and they're just like, Dragyn, if you had a better mic, this would be really nice content. And I was like, ding, ideas.
Yep.
And now pretty much my channel's all audio based, except for, you know, the gaming that I do on Mondays. Everything else is audio based, and it's because I invested in this baby, my little blue. And now I just love reading it, because even in Toastmasters, oh guys, if you've been listening to the podcast for like this whole year, Toastmasters is my life this 2021 year. And a lot of people too throughout those, they're like, wow, like if you weren't a teacher, I was like, well, I'm okay, you'd be really good like radio voice, or like a good entertainer, like just the way your voice sounds. Like it doesn't matter what the hell you say, just your voice alone is like really nice to listen to. And I'm like, oh, okay, thank you. And when I did Toastmasters last year, I just had a headset mic as well. So going back to those like Xbox gamer headsets, that was me. And they're just, and eventually it faded. Like the mic in my headset I have on right now it stopped working. completely. And I was like, uh-oh, I need a mic. And then, yeah, I was that person that was like, Amazon, like, $20 mic, here we go. And you have to speak really close to it to be heard clearly. And eventually I was like going through Marketplace on Facebook, and this person's like selling brand new Snowball for just like, I think it was like $35. And we're looking to get rid of a lot of our technology because we're moving. I was like, messages immediately.
Yeah.
Because these babies can be a little pricey. And this one, I looked up the regular price for it. I was like, ha! This is a discount for sure. I'm getting it. And yeah, so the way you hear my voice right now, lovelies, is Blue, my baby Blue. So yes, I agree with the whole investment for sure, because this baby was a happy investment. As I'm petting it. Anyway, next question. So obviously streaming has been a little iffy off and on for you for a little while because you got crazy shifts being a newsboy.
Yes.
Newsboy, could change the wording on that one. Don't worry about it.
I like Newsboy. As long as I'm not like that person on the street. Extra, read all about it.
Nah, you're a director of some sort. That's all I remember right now because I'm hungry.
I have, yeah. It's like for those who are curious, like my actual title in the broadcasting is called production, and basically that means like whatever behind the scenes I'm doing something, whether that is working robotic cameras, running the teleprompter, running audio, or and it's like being the floor director. For those who don't know, that is basically the person that is making sure like the anchors or the talent is which camera they're looking at. If you're in a certain set, like if they need to move, lead into their same. So you're like the man in the shadows, like you're not to be seen, but make sure the talent knows where to look at and what to look good. And then there's directing, which is basically you're the person pushing all the buttons. So like everything that is seen on screen, someone has to push a button for that to happen. Especially like now at the time of recording, it's the Tokyo 2020 Olympics.
Yeah.
Next time you're watching the Olympics, whether it is actually live or not, as you're watching, like when you see all those transitions and then you move to a different camera, someone is pushing buttons to make that happen.
And that's what
it
you do.
It could be like a team of people, or it could be, yeah. So it's just that moment of like, I am like the person, like I said, I'm ever in the background, making sure that whatever happens, we get it is live and it's like it's real, and so there's where it's like. I work through all the mornings in the Fresh Living show and then in the noon show, and I do that almost every day.
Yeah, with such a crazy schedule. My next question is.
So thank you for being. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say yes. Newsboy is your superhero title right now for me in my brain. With how much dedication you're putting to these shows, you're Newsboy, in the superhero sense for sure. But with how busy you are, I am curious, like, what is your current, ooh, that's a weird way to say current. What is your current status or attitude towards streaming right now, currently?
With the how streaming is currently, the best way I can put it, it is where, for me, I always will make the decision is, I will always stream when I can, and it will always be a hobby for me.
Yeah.
And my heart goes up to those who do that full time, because with this the streaming industry, whether it be YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch, or the befallen Mixer, things are always changing.
Yeah.
And it's more of those kind of the moment of like you have to be on top of things, because I ran through this analogy as I was driving home from work today. Being a full-time content creator, it's like you come into work one day, and then you hear that there's a corporate wide email sent out to every employee, but you were not aware of this email, and then your boss comes in and just like immediately like upset it with you, and you're just like and all you done is just come into work. And he looks at you, it's like, you didn't follow the email. And it's like, what was in the email? It's like, well, we're not going to tell you. You should know. And it's like, well, you shouldn't be mad at me. Can you please tell me? He's like, well, that's for you to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
And then you move on with your shift.
Yeah. You're like,
and it's just like, that's the pace of like content creation and streaming. It's like, it's always evolving. And it's like, it's either gonna be overwhelming or you're gonna usually a lot of times like you'll fall behind and like for me it's like I'm just grateful like I have a moment to just sit back and just watch everything because I have seen how like people get paid, revenues like being changed, how like
Mm.
the algorithms work. I like when a lot of people like have these like jokes, like how like oh Twitch is not doing this, YouTube's not doing this, and I'm just like it's always changing.
Yeah.
Like I watch how like when the Twitch DMCA like with the ways of using copyrighted music in streams was a hot topic, and I'm just like, remember when YouTube did that years ago? And then just like,
Yeah.
and it just where it's like, oh my gosh, and it's just where it's like it's always changing. So my for those who do this as a full time, my heart absolutely goes to you because it's just like because kind of like I said, it's like you coming into work and something changes and you're like what, and no one tells you,
Mm-hmm.
and like for me like streaming is definitely a hobby that it's here to stay, and there's always going to be people new coming. There's always going to be something new, and it's definitely like one of those things where you always got to be on the ball, like especially like now like one of the hottest things is VTubers, which
Yeah.
I will admit I am a fan.
Oh,
I
cool.
think I think that is really neat. And it is just to that moment where the people like, oh, it's so cringe, or like, I can't stand this. And I'm just like, there's some people that are making buttloads of money being a sweet anime girl. And it's just like, and it's just like, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. Like, whether this is here to stay, who knows? Like, there are, many ways of technology. As I say, like the ways of viral hits. They're like the candy, like the hottest thing. And he's like, you gotta have this candy, and you take it, and you feel good, and it's great, and
Mm-hmm.
then it goes away,
Yep.
and it's like, and it's just one of those moments where it's just like, hey, you want this piece of candy? And he's like, nah, I'm good, and that's what I always say. Just where it's like, no one has the answer. There's no definitive. You need this for streaming, or you need to be playing this game. So it is just like an ever evolving workplace. So and like for me, it's like I'm grateful to where it's like I I don't follow the trends, but at least I know like I can always keep my head above water. But by golly, for those who do that full time, that my again, like I keep saying, like my heart goes out to you.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you are able to put food on the table, because it's just where something can change and your paycheck is gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Gosh, I remember when that DMCA came out. I was slow streaming started with music in the background. Like that was this chill stream I was known for like years because it's like, oh, I'm just gonna put on this like random playlist on YouTube. Let's
Yeah.
go Stardew Valley for 3 hours. And I remember a lot of my friends like using that as like a way like I know I'm lurking, but like I'm doing homework and this is really relaxing and chill. And I'm like, you do you. I'm glad you're chill and relaxing and not using this as a way to like get through the stressful university work. You do you. And then the DMCA thing happened. I was like, now I have to play Stardew Valley with the actual game sound on. Damn, I don't think I've heard the game sound in ages, kind of thing. And it was a weird change, but yeah, I think that's also a good analogy for like even like COVID's done to the workplace this year as well, right? Like it's
Oh yeah.
it's constantly changing to like what things are doing. Even at my work, where my company's like, yes, we're gonna give you all a raise because you deserve it. You're our frontline workers. You're our heroes. Clap, clap, clap. To going, now we're taking away that small little premium, but you're still making, above minimum wage. You guys should be happy, right? And we're like, I guess so. And then we got that given back at one point, then it got taken away, and now it's so much change. And I feel like that's what this whole full-time streaming thing would look like for a lot of people,
Yeah.
which I'm going to get way more insight into that next week, by the way, which I'll get to that announcement after
Yes.
one more question for the Crumpler 64.
Yes.
We kind of got a little glimpse to it when you were talking about your current attitude towards streaming, but I'm curious, do you have any big like plans or goals upcoming for streaming at all?
Well, for me, it's like as I kind of definitely said, the work has definitely taken a lot of my energy away from like being a normal broadcaster, and also from the days from about a month ago, I started getting back into an active lifestyle where I started trying to eat more healthy
Yeah.
and try to and start working out more. Do 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 basically I just like as many people would blame 2020 like oh because of the pandemic I you're like I got so much got so much bigger because I stayed at home like for me my lifestyle didn't change when like for me like before like this is another fun fact to me before I got into like broadcasting like what I did on the side from college like I was a lifeguard at a rec center and also was a water aerobics instructor. I know, shocker. So I had a very active lifestyle to where it's like I'm one of those people that could eat anything and then go to work it all off, and not gain a pound. And then when I really got into TV news broadcasting, it's such a demanding job to where I had to leave lifeguarding. I had to leave
Yeah.
water aerobics. And so pounds just packing as I just went to a job, did broadcasting, sat down, like, very active. And then when I weighed myself, I was the heaviest I've ever been.
Mm.
Certain clothes started not fit anymore. And then I was like, I just reached a breaking point. I wanted to get better. And so it's like, I'm just at this moment where it's like, I'm working on myself. I'm devoting all my energy to work because I really love what I do. I love my job. That's one thing I want to make very clear. I love this job. I've been trying to get to this job for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And so, yes, streams have suffered from this in terms of like, my presence on Twitch is very limited, but it is for me for any future plans. I do want to go back. I do want to reach a point to where I can go back to like 2017 to where I have a schedule. I can come back. Like for me it's like even when I don't stream often, I'm basically to a point like I almost feel like I'm a freaking executive producer. Like every stream is an investment. Like
Yeah.
money is thrown into these streams, but whether it's just the Lovely Lady Crumps and the Dungeons and Dragons stream, and now it's the Lovely Lady Commander streams with the Magic. I am brewing like for those are that's my Magic the Gathering content,
Mm-hmm.
and it's where it's like those streams. I'm not looking at the numbers. I and just to the moment like I don't like this is gonna be one of those like Magic the Gathering is a slow burn. Like it's where it's like it's you make these videos the view count or whatever is gonna be really low. You may not get the interaction, but eventually it will work. And
Mm-hmm.
I've seen this happen many times. So it just where it's like I'm doing something I love. Like a lot of people I bring on, they've like they don't play Magic very often, and I'm making these decks for them. I'm buying like we're doing a lot of times we use Magic Online, so I had to buy these cards. I'm buying all these cards for these people so they can just sit down and play and interact and play this game with me. And like for me, I don't know how, but it's like is very easy to get. I like being being in that producer status where it's like I can create content in that way.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's like I can't always stream, but I want to make. Yeah, I definitely want to get higher in production where it's like I am making stuff for the world rather than just I'm turning on a camera and be entertaining for you all. Because another thing is just where I, I've gotten a lot more aggressive lately. I'm making merch a lot more faster than I normally would. Because of where it's like, whether I'm using like a mascot character or a phrase in a stream, like whenever the phrase like you should put that on a t-shirt, I'm like I will make that into a t-shirt. Like I'm basically the person where it's like when you come to a stream, you like come as like holy crap this guy has production value and just like I'm to that point now. It's like I got the voice, I got the entertainment, now let me bedazzle you, look at this glitter. So I wanted to where it's like even if I'm not sticking to the schedule, I want to just like this show like basically it's kind of you can call it flexing. I don't care. Yeah, screw it. Yes, it's flexing. It's flexing. I want to
Absolutely.
be able to flex. Like I've been in broadcasting like for 6 years. I'm in TV production. I know what top quality is like. Let me show you, and leave me that example of what that's like for people for now. And at this moment, I don't have a schedule. I'm definitely one of those people that when I sit down and stream, my energy is where it needs to be.
Mm.
I have a game I'm like 110% behind because I've streamed like like being very tired and not into it, and you think and for anyone think you can get away with that, your community will see right through you if they know that you are not there, like you're not well, and it's it scares people away, and I always make sure that when I come on, you're in for a show. And so for everything, it's like I have nothing divisive, but I definitely want to reach to that point where it's like I don't stream often, but at that moment of just like, oh, Crumpler is streaming. What is he up to now? And just it's like you're in where you just come in and I surprise you.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. It's an interesting shift to go from like just getting on there, streaming, having fun, doing whatever, to now like really focusing on like this is exactly what I want to do and I want to make it look super awesome. And it's a nice shift you've got there going on. I like that. Spam's doing the same thing actually with like his content. With he's trying to do more vlogging. Sorry, Spam, I'm calling you out right now in the middle of the podcast. What up? Sorry, buddy. We'll talk later.
What is he gonna do? Complain in the comment section?
Bring it, boy! I can delete your comment. Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I was trying to defend you, but if you encourage that behavior, it's your channel.
No, like he's just gonna laugh really hard at this, but he's been getting like we friends, we good, Spam, we good. But he's been getting like new things as well to help with like vlogging. So like he's been talking about like gimbals and fancy things that I have no idea about. I'm like, cool, what do you want to do with all of it? He's like, better vlogs. I'm like, all right, you do you. And so it's kind of neat that some of us are like shifting into that like high quality stuff. So for me, investing in my little blue is so I can make really nice article reading videos for you all, because that's mainly what I do, and with unique histories. And then the podcast, I want to go through a journey with you, and you can hear all the ups and downs and the clearness of this mic and voice. And it's really neat that we're all at that stage. We've been on Twitch for years now, and we've shifted to like the production value over let's just get on there and do it no matter what state we're in.
Yeah, it's, and again, like for me, like I'm spoiled in the technology field because I'm always watching people. I always see what, I like to see what they have, and now in the TV level of production and stuff, like, which basically I have like kind of like said, my microphone and the mixer I have now. I've gotten to that point now where it's like I've gotten so used to this pro setup to where it's like I can't go back to just headset and snowball and just computer now.
Fair.
I can't go back. I love being able to control, like, having all these faders, and I can control the level of my volume and the people in a phone call and the level of the game, and I don't have to like go through like software. I can just do it right here.
Yeah. Oh,
So-
I don't think I'll ever get to that point, but it's a slow progress to maybe that stage for me. But like with you and Spam, like it's just like amazing to hear like I found this cool thing and I'm gonna get it and it's gonna be amazing. I'm gonna use it. I'm like, you do you. That's amazing. I can't wait to hear how it comes out. That's where I'm at currently. I'm just like, I got my mic.
You'll know.
Oh, I think that's been established right there. One good example there.
Yeah, that's why I said, like, and that's another thing. It's like I'm definitely the kind of person, like, the one thing I am grateful I did stop, and this is another thing to, like, going back on the question, like in like terms of advice. I know this is not for everyone, but like I am got into that mindset a lot of the times where I would buy a piece of tech, or I would buy a game, or any of the stuff for the pure reason to stream it, or to use this for streaming. And I can tell you, like, I have various things of tech and games in my Steam library that I have not touched. And I probably had for like over a year, but I was like, oh, I need this for the good quality for my stream. Like, oh, this game would be perfect for a stream. And I just stream this, stream that. And then it's just like, it barely goes anywhere. And I've wasted probably so much money.
No. Oh.
Yeah, and also like another thing I've gone into a deep pit on, like, when I'm definitely one of those people where when I play a game in a stream, I don't want to. There's a part like, well, I can't play that game now. If I play this, I have to stream it because I want to continue the story to my actions be genuine. And it's like, I eventually just like like this year, I just ventured like, screw it, I want to play this game. I healed off.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I got trapped into that with Stardew with like on the channel. I was like, I want to just record this full Stardew Valley year, every single day of the Stardew Valley year. I'm gonna do it, and my brain was like, oh, that'll take just like I don't know, maybe just a couple months, and it took 25 weeks to do that. And now I'm at the point where I'm like, I can play it on my own now and like only record the highlights. Yay! I'm finally at that point.
So that's definitely like my future goals is try not to get in, definitely not get into that trap of like only buying, whether it's like games or content or tech for just the pure asset, just a pure reason just to stream it.
Mm-hmm.
And because there's one thing that thankfully, I had thankfully some people from the community that told me it's like they don't care if you complete a game or not. That is, they are there to watch you play the game.
Yeah.
Like it's only like on YouTube and such where they may care if you start from a game from beginning to end.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of times where it's like, since I'm a stats nerd, I've seen the stats of a lot of people, like they'll start a game, episode 1 has like so many views, then the next video has more views, and then it just goes downhill as they get like, hey guys, welcome to part 105 on this. And there's like nothing.
Yeah.
So and it's that moment like I see that, but then it's just like I'm going like, no, I can't play this. I can't play this game because I need the continuation on this in the stream, and then I'll just have games that are just like, no, I can't play this because I need to stream it, and then I'm just like, I don't play them.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely another goal. It's just if there's a game I want to play, screw if I'm in the middle of another game because because my community has proved many times where it's like they don't care if it's a continuation or if it's a game I've played constantly. Like this last birthday stream, I played XCOM 2, a game I played for years.
Yeah.
But it's people still came to see. It's just like it's that moment like they're there to see you, and maybe they're for the game, but it's just to that moment they're there to see you. They don't care if it's like, like you're in the middle or something. They're popping in, hey, what's this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think those are some really good things to keep in mind for anyone into this crazy world of ours, because yeah, I mean, sometimes it might be the strategic thing to play a game that's like hot topic right now. So for example, I love you, Pat, but New World, you've been playing that quite a bit, buddy, yep. But like,
this is intervention. You have a problem.
But like,
that's another thing. He keeps asking me to play that game with him, and I was like, I'm level 7. You're like level 60.
yeah.
And it's just, and that's the other thing. I like. Again, I think I love you, Pat. Love you, Gar. But holy crap, go to bed. Because there's moments where like when I go into work at 2:30 in the morning, and I still see you guys streaming. I almost want to scream.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just starting my day. You've probably been up for like 8 hours.
Yeah.
I know, and against that moment, I know it's your job, but it's just like, holy crap. But again, it's their world. It's what they do. So it's still funny to wake up that early in the morning. It's like, you're still up?
Yeah. I've called out Spam a couple times with that, where I'll like be on one of my breaks at work and I'll see that he's playing Genshin and it's like 3 a.m. for us, Crumpler, and I'm just like, buddy, it's 2 a.m. for you. Put down the Genshin and go to bed.
Spam, the waifus will be there when you become conscious again. Go to bed.
Yeah, you'll get your pretty boys and girls later. Like, just go sleep. But yeah, I could like echo a lot that you're saying, right? It's just like play whatever you want to play when you want to play it, whether it's live or not, depending on your energy or not. Like it's a hobby. It's for you to enjoy in the way you want to enjoy it. Because as soon as it becomes about the strategies and numbers and a little bit is what I fall into that trap a little bit as well. Because YouTube is mean right now.
It's so easy for people to fall in the trap, and I will admit, like as a stats nerd, I've always fallen into that trap, and it sucks. It really, really sucks. And a lot of times, like they stream like no one's watching, and I try to take it to heart because that's one of the things. Like like I remember when I had this many viewers, like so common, but now I'm not reaching those numbers anymore. What am I doing wrong? And then it's where it's like you think, oh, I need to be relevant. I need to do all this, and it's where it's
Yeah.
like, slow down there, cowboy. It's a race, but no one knows where they're going. It's just
Yeah.
like you and other streamers. The gun fires off. You run down the track. You see there may be one person be running next to you. One person's doing a handstand. One person's doing cartwheels. One person's in an airplane. And it's just like it's a race, and there's no clear path.
Yeah. Yeah.
And 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 an, and another level of advice for anyone that when you look at numbers and you think you lost a viewer or you lost a subscriber, and you're the moment you want to be like, oh no, what did I do? And it's where it's like, hey, that person or possible bot had their fill, and they're gone now.
Yeah.
The people that are still there are the people that really matter. Those are the people that really count. Those are the numbers that really matter.
Yeah.
Not how many there are, not how many people are currently there in your live broadcast. For those that are still going to be sticking around for like those long hour streams, or the person that just drops in to just say hello, and they have whether their first time popping in or their 117th time popping in. Those are the numbers that really matter, and it is so easy to get into that numbers game, and it's where like I can't say ignore the numbers, but just where it's like don't dwell too much into the numbers.
Yeah.
The stats race is gonna eat you alive, and if for someone who's been in the game for 6 years, very much going from a hardcore streamer to like more of a casual streamer, and it's still relevant on the internet. I'm a living example to where it's like I don't need how these 8 hours streams to be relevant. I make these impacts by making dumb voices on a microphone and pushing buttons.
Yeah.
And as if any kind of conclusion I can reach is that it is where it is so easy to get into the numbers race, and if you get too much in that race, you will lose sight of how you got to where you are and how you got there, and the people that helped you through that journey. And for those who are listening on this Dragon's channel that have been a part from their journey, or just finding out me about for the first time, I love you and I adore you all, and in as much as I want to say thank you does not do justice. Come here for a hug. You're amazing individual, and I love you. There you go, Dragon. Take it away.
Yay! I felt that, and I'm just like, oh, I got like an air Crumpler hug right now. Yay! Oh gosh, but yeah.
That's another thing. Yeah, warning: if you ever see him at a convention, I do bear hugs. So I will warn you: if you want to hug, I'm not the like, oh, little pat, like, oh, hug, pat. No, I'm the person like I will make sure you probably don't breathe if you ask for a hug. So forewarning, I love you, and I'm gonna show it.
As someone who's been on the receiving end of one of these hugs, yes, I've been on the receiving end of these.
Dragon is a bear hug survivor from me. She knows.
Yeah. Oh, there's so much power in a hug, but we're gonna keep going on about hugs here for like another 30 minutes if I keep going down this road. So no. And I actually do need to cut it here because I'm teaching in 45 minutes. Woo! Career girl over here.
And it's on.
Yes, so that was amazing. So many great moments came out of this, and I was feeling so nostalgic as well, being part of the community for you for many years, and yes. I will be making a return back to your community. I feel like I need to come back because this made me so nostalgic, and I just miss everyone. So I'm very happy to have you here. Thank you for all of your answers, insights, advice, reflections, stories galore. They were really great.
Yes. Yeah, I'm a person that is difficult to shut up, and thankfully you were warned ahead of time and you knew fully well what you're getting yourself into. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to basically share my experiences and to
Mhm.
express my journey and advice to any of those who want to lend an ear to this and to know that, hey, if this is something you want to do or you do something interesting, here's some insight.
Yeah, I think it was a lot of really good moments there, and a very valuable guest to have for the podcast for sure. So if you want to follow the Crumpler and support this amazing man, which I think you should do it, please. It's in the description. Everything will be there from
Yes.
his Twitch channel, his Twitter. I was gonna say Twitter channel. That's not a channel. It's a social media platform. Twitch, Twitter.
It's almost a channel at this moment. I'm always posting nonsense there.
Oh yeah, very funny stuff.
That's another thing. I may not be active on Twitch, but follow my Twitter. There
Yeah.
you'll see some nonsense.
Yeah. Oh yeah, good elevator moments for sure. Just for one of those throwbacks.
Never leave me alone in an elevator. I get ideas. That sounds very wrong. Anyway, send us up.
Yes, all of his links will be in the description below. Go check him out, and of course, check me out while you're at it. I do things. That's the very minimum that you're gonna get right now, because I need food and coffee before I teach. But this was a great episode. Hopefully everyone enjoyed the reflection and you've got something to take away from this episode. That's always a goal for me in this podcast, is you take something away with you when you leave. So whether that's a coffee, because you've had drinks at the table now, or a little wisdom, or a little seed of knowledge popped in your brain, I'm happy to do that for you guys. And this is going to be a Thursday, so happy Thursday everybody in the future for me. The next episode up on the channel will be Unique Histories, and I think we're going to be looking at some Celtic mythology in this next episode, so it'll be a really fun one.
Quick, sign us off. The cops are coming.
Yeah, but, oh no, I gotta go! Downtown fashion. I gotta end the stream here. Take care, everybody. Thank you again, Crumpler, and I will see you on Saturday. Goodbye!
Oh, they will.